Good afternoon and welcome to the 2023 mayoral election for the city of Lynchburg. My name is Alicia Finney. I'm the clerk of council and I'll be presiding over this meeting until the new mayor is selected. To just briefly go over the procedure of the election of mayor, the clerk of council shall preside during the meeting at which the mayor is elected, pending the election of the mayor. Following the election of the mayor, he or she shall preside during the election of the vice mayor. The presiding officer shall call for nominations from the membership. Any council member, after being recognized by the presiding officer, may place one or more names in nomination and discuss his or her opinions on the qualifications of the nominees. After all nominations have been made, the presiding officer shall close the nominating process and open the floor for discussion. After discussion, the presiding officer shall call for the vote. The membership shall vote by written ballot, and the completed ballot shall immediately be passed to our designated staff person, Ms. Mercedes Braun, who shall collect the ballots, read them aloud, publicly announcing how each member of the council voted, and tally respective votes. Each member shall cast one vote for any one nominee. In the case of a three-way race, the candidate receiving the least number of votes will be dropped from the slate of nominees, and another vote will be taken. A majority of those voting shall be required to elect the mayor or vice mayor. As previously stated, following the election of the mayor, he or she shall preside during the election of vice mayor, following the same process as the election of mayor. Do we have any questions about the process? Hearing none, I'll open the floor for nominations.
I nominate Jeff Helgeson.
Councilmember Taylor? Do I hear any other nominations?
Madam Clerk.
Yes, Councilmember Foley.
It is a new day for Lynchburg. With Councilmembers Mischins, Taylor, and Reed joining council, our city has much to look forward to. For their successful campaigns, I congratulate each of you and sincerely look forward to working with all of you in advancing the city. And this was indeed my lens for engaging today's conversation, this important transition, how to best advance Lynchburg. No doubt each of us will bring our own unique flavor to these chambers. Every member will have their own solutions for how to lay the foundations for tomorrow's Lynchburg. This is the most critical element of why we're here today, deciding who among us will best represent this council to the community it was elected to represent. But how? How should each of us reach a conclusion to this question? For me, it could not be clearer. For advancing the city, what matters most is not who holds the gavel, but rather the policies to be adopted. Conversely, and understandably, whoever occupies the office of mayor will have significant influence over the direction of the city, the mind of her residents, and the perceptions of this council. This balance may prove a most delicate one to maintain. Whoever occupies this position for the upcoming term must possess all the attributes enshrined within the fabric of the office and a subscription to the array of decisions of this body. I have concluded for the overall success of this work, the mayor, while largely symbolic, must in the end reflect the will of this body. The tenets of this council are far more important and imperative than any individual member or their pursuits. And I am further convinced the realization of those tenets will be directly tied to the colleague occupying this office and their devotion to the path forward. To successfully solidify and incorporate the proposals and priorities of this council, and with this solely as my foundation, I humbly submit Councilmember Reed as nominee for mayor of the city of Lynchburg.
Thank you. So that's one nomination for Councilmember Helgeson and one nomination for Councilmember Reed. Do we have any other nominations? Okay, hearing none, I will close the nomination process and open the floor for discussion.
Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Mischins.
I'll be supporting Councilman Jeff Helgeson for mayor. Jeff is a longtime member of the community, and he served on city council continuously for 18 years. He's an educator at Liberty University and Sweetbriar Our College, and he's also a successful local business owner. He served in a variety of local civic groups, local churches, and on the city's planning commission. He has a long history of service to our city. He's a proven leader with a steady hand He follows his convictions to do the right thing. He is fair, honest, and a man of integrity. He has exercised the decorum I expect of a mayor who will unite our city under new leadership. His nearly 2 decades of experience seeing everything this governing body has gotten right. And he's also seen the mistakes the city's made in the past, and he knows which ones we shouldn't repeat. In my personal experience as a former city employee, I was furloughed along with every other city employee in 2009. Jeff was the lone council member fighting against unnecessary spending that could have prevented every city employee from losing money out of their paycheck and reduced staffing in our public safety departments. Jeff was the only one. We have some great council members here to choose from for our next mayor. Some who have served for many years in multiple terms, and some who have just gotten sworn in, like myself. Some of us have been in Lynchburg for decades, or even our entire lives. And some have only been here 2 years. The city of Lynchburg knows Jeff, and Jeff knows the city of Lynchburg, which is why former Mayor Mike Gillette has endorsed Councilman Helgeson for mayor. He has the knowledge, the experience, and the temperament to lead the governing body effectively and efficiently, just like he has run his finance committee meetings. I see the same attributes in Jeff Helgeson that Mayor Dolan saw in him when she appointed him as finance committee chair. I believe that it's important that our next mayor is Jeff Helgeson. Selecting our next mayor is an important undertaking. Former Mayor Dolan, who's been a part of the Lynchburg community for decades, proved herself before she was chosen by this governing body to be our most recent mayor. She even proved herself by serving a full term and being successfully reelected before she sought the mayorship of this wonderful city. She, as well as council, were wise to elect a mayor with years of vast experience running a business, effectively leading meetings at a very high level, and proving herself on a city council for a full 4-year term before being elected as mayor. Lynchburg City Council has a reputation of exercising wisdom and good judgment to make this important decision by not selecting a mayor who has never served as a council member first. No one that I know of has ever been mayor of our historic city who has no history in our city. And Councilmember Reed has only been a part of our community for 2 years. I'm thankful she's here. I'm glad she was elected and I voted for her this past November. But Lynchburg has never done this before, and it would be unprecedented to hand over the mayorship to someone with no experience in governing and almost no experience in our city. While I appreciate Councilmember Reed and look forward to her success on City Council, she's never chaired a public meeting, never served on council, never served on any of the city's appointed boards and commissions, never been through our Citizens Academy, and she's only lived in Lynchburg for 2 years, according to this morning's News and Advance article on her own admission. All the citizens know about her are some flashy campaign signs and billboards, and I think it would be prudent for us to give City Council, city staff, and our citizens a chance to get to know Councilmember Reed through service on this governing body and living in this city. And I look forward to supporting her for mayor in a future term after her success on this governing body. For all these reasons, I will be supporting Jeff Helgeson for mayor, and I ask all of my fellow council members to join me in supporting him.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like? I would. Councilmember Dolan?
Thank you. Well, this is really not about longevity as a city resident or council experience. This is about who can work with all of our citizens best, who will show up, who can unify, who can conduct meetings in a dignified and efficient manner, and who will work best with city staff. I stated earlier that I have concerns if we elect a mayor who has, that we can elect a mayor who has leadership skills that can keep our city moving forward. Councilmember Helgeson has stated recently, publicly, WLNI, that he would like to see our city like it was 20 years ago. Well, to me, that means no growth, means no infrastructure development, no advancement in diversity. He has been outspoken about not supporting equity initiatives and, more important, public education. Those alone are deal breakers for me. Stephanie has repeatedly stated she will work for all of the residents of our city, and I believe that she will. I believe that she has the integrity required for the mayoral position. The mayor must be able to work with city leadership closely and in a manner that is not antagonistic. Councilmember Helgeson has a long history of vilifying city staff and treating them with disdain. Stephanie has not indicated that she will be anything but respectful. She has no history of disrespecting entire groups of constituents, for example, LGBTQ or African American citizens. Stephanie conducted her campaign with dignity and without resorting to misrepresentations to promote herself. Incidentally, with her short time in Lynchburg, I think she had around 12,287 votes. In a single election, Councilmember Helgeson received 1,898 votes total for all of his elections. This is a busy job. She is committed and has the time to be effective. Prior to being sworn in, she demonstrated her commitment by visiting some of the departments to gain a better understanding of how they function. Sure, there's a learning curve, but I have no reason to believe that she is not up to the task. Our rules of procedure is a short manual of 20 pages, so I think she's capable of assimilating that information and running a meeting effectively. And again, you have to show up, and I will be supporting Stephanie. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Dolan. Is there any other discussion? Councilmember Helgeson?
Well, thank you, and I'm very honored to serve the citizens of Lynchburg these last 18 years. And, you know, as thinking about this, I'm looking back in year 2004 when I was first elected. I was elected first time with Mike Gillette. And Mike Gillette was on one side of the aisle, I was on the other. Every time there would be issues that would come up, he would argue one side, I would argue the other. And with that, you know, my constituents, those on the right said, oh man, we love you and hate him. Those on his side said, man, we love him and hate you. The interesting thing was, after the election, after his 4-year term, after he became mayor, he had to switch hats. He had to go from the person that was maybe the loyal opposition or pushing for a policy to recognize we need to come together. And that's why I was so, you know, anytime I read this, I actually kind of get teared up when I read this, because it was so nice to see somebody on the opposite side of the aisle that recognized the difficulty, what you're doing with trying to bring people together as mayor. He said, it is clear, based on the election results of November 8th, that Lynchburg City Council will be electing new leadership at its organizational meeting in January. I believe that of all those in the new majority on council, Jeff Helgeson has the best mixture of experience and understanding of local government to serve as the new mayor. If Jeff does become our next mayor, I wish him the greatest success in helping council to craft its new priorities and to safeguard a local tradition of maintaining civility in local government. I'm hopeful that he will seize this opportunity to work towards unity on council and to advance our common interests. Lots of times it's humbling when you have folks that you have fought with and you argued and you debated with on different points that recognize the benefits of having experience, having leadership and decorum and a level hand. You know, I'm very thankful for the comments made by Councilmember Mischins. I'm thankful for those that I've been able to serve with and work with. I know that over the next 2 years, there's going to be lots of challenges and difficulties, and coming together is going to be critical. And actually having a majority that is going to be working together for the benefit of the citizens is critical. It's not about ego. It's about for the citizens. And with that, running meetings are pretty critical. Knowing Robert's Rules of Order, knowing how to run things. And so again, I appreciate and would ask for your vote for mayor, and I would pledge to try to be a uniter, bring people together. People know me. I've lived here since 1985, and I would appreciate your vote, so thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, I will close the discussion portion. Council, in front of you, you have ballots marked mayor. Please select one of the nominees, fold the ballot once, and pass to Ms. Braun, who will read them aloud.
Councilman Taylor has voted for Councilman Hegelson.
That's one for Helgeson.
Councilman Wilder has voted for Councilwoman Reed.
That's one for Reed.
Councilmember Reed has voted for Councilmember Reed.
That's two for Reed.
Sorry about paper right there, guys. Councilmember Mischens has voted for Councilmember Hegelson.
That's two for Helgeson.
Councilmember Hegelson has voted for Councilmember Hegelson. Sorry, it's a tongue twister.
That's three for Helgeson.
Councilmember Dolan has voted for Councilwoman Reed.
That's three for Reed.
And Councilmember Feraldi has voted for Councilwoman Reed.
That's four for Reed. We have a new mayor. Congratulations, Mayor Stephanie.
All right. Okay. The floor is now open for nominations to the position of vice mayor. And as the new mayor, I would like to make the first nomination. Today is about looking towards the future. And what kind of council will we be? Will we look to the issues of the past, offer platitudes to the problems of yesterday? Or will we boldly put our best foot forward, promptly stepping off into the next chapter of Lynchburg, Virginia? This next page has not been written, but in my mind, there is an outline for how it can be published. Lynchburg needs to have a team willing to bring unity and transparency to City Hall, not division. For this next chapter, transparency must be a pillar of who we are. A singular, outward-focused, dedicated passion for our city is crucial. Knowing when to speak, what to say, and how to say it are important too. But greater importance lies with knowing when to acknowledge the gentle push of the Spirit of the Lord and simply listen. Conviction and dedication to the principles individually maintained speak to the values of a representative. But knowing how to galvanize those values in alignment with the broad principles held by the voters to yield fruit is even more essential. And this is the most critical element of our team, the results. Now more than ever, we will need leadership driven by securing results for our city rather than notoriety. In my mind, I believe there is one particular member on this dais who will complement these various attributes, offer these abilities, and who subscribes to those principles, who will help guide us all in penning this next chapter. With a strong dedication to transparency, an unmatched zeal, a mindfulness to listen, and success as a driven member of this council, with constant dedication to doing the right thing, I nominate Councilman Chris Feraldi to serve as my vice mayor.
Madam Mayor,
Yes?
I nominate Jeff Helgeson for vice mayor.
Okay. Any other nominations? No? All right, nominations are closed. Any discussion?
Madam Mayor, I do have plenty of concerns with Councilmember Feraldi as the vice mayor, but one of the reasons why I'm going to tell you that I support Councilmember Helgeson so much is his strict adherence to the United States Constitution. It's something that is very important that we swore an oath on in the last several days. In our meetings with city staff prior to being sworn in, you mentioned using unconstitutional eminent domain. You've also mentioned unconstitutional red light cameras that would send our citizens tickets in the mail, and other things that have me very concerned about not having somebody with a strong understanding of the Constitution to be a check and balance for you as the mayor, which is why I'll be supporting Jeff Helgeson for vice mayor.
Any other discussion? Yes?
Thank you, and I appreciate those comments. You know, it's amazing, there's a saying in the public policy process that says you have your word and your friends, and you go back on either and you're dead. Sad, but it's a truism that's by the Leadership Institute. You know, they talk about you're not physically dead, but what you've done, and their word is critical. You know, I just remember a few months ago, Councilmember Feraldi's word was saying, hey, my first vote is supporting Jeff Helgeson for mayor. I just remember the times when somebody reminded me recently the letter that our mayor sent after Councilmember Feraldi jumped up out of a meeting slamming the books down, cussing at the school board, and the letter that was given by our mayor. So I think having a good temperament, good hand, you know, someone that doesn't vote for this, you know, pretty monstrosity of a budget, somebody that recognizes and respects that we got challenges ahead of us. We have recession coming. We have taxes that are, you know, things that we need a level hand. And so, you know, I helped Councilmember Feraldi. I was his largest donor last time. He and I were good friends until something happened. I have no idea what, but anyway, I just, we need honesty and transparency, and so I would appreciate your vote for vice mayor. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
I'm supporting Jeff because I live in community with Jeff. I know Jeff. He's a faithful man, and I think Stephanie and Jeff will complement one another in this position. Jeff as her vice mayor.
Anyone else? Okay, discussions are now closed. Please select the ballot in front of you marked vice mayor, cast your vote, fold the ballot once, and pass it to Ms. Braun, who will read the votes aloud, please. Good.
All right, we have Councilmember Dolan for Councilmember Feraldi.
That's one for Feraldi.
We have Councilmember Feraldi for Councilmember Feraldi.
That's two for Feraldi.
We have Councilmember Helgeson for Councilmember Helgeson.
That's one for Helgeson.
We have Mayor Reed for Councilmember Feraldi.
That's three for Feraldi.
We have Councilmember Mischens for Councilmember Helgeson.
That's two for Helgeson.
And we have Councilmember Wilder for Councilmember Feraldi.
That's four for Feraldi.
And we have Councilman Taylor for Councilmember Helgeson.
That's three for Helgeson. Congratulations.
Okay. Our last order of business is our seating arrangement. According to Lynchburg City Council Rules of Procedure, Section 2-8, the mayor shall occupy the center seat on the dais, with the vice mayor occupying the seat at her immediate right, in this case. Vice Mayor Feraldi, would you like to come over here, please? The remaining members of council shall determine their seating arrangement by seniority, with the most senior member selecting his or her seat first, and the remaining members selecting their respective seats in seniority order based on their years served on the council. In the event that 2 or more council members have equal seniority, the selection of seating for those members shall be determined by chance.
Part can be relatively informal if y'all like to get up. Yeah.
Okay?
Jeff is the most senior. I'm sorry, Councilmember Helgeson's the most senior.
Do we want to move first and then adjourn the meeting, or what's the easier thing to do?
Yeah, if we go ahead and take our, if you take your
our seats
positions.
and then- Okay.
We can stake our claim to our.
Your choice.
Don't matter. I'm set. Don't matter.
This will work for me.
It'll work for me.
Okay.
You good?
We're good.
Okay.
We got it.
And you need to move your signs around.
Oh, yes. We'll do that later. Okay. Okay, our next meeting is, our regular scheduled meeting is January 10th, 2023 at 4 p.m. here in Council Chamber. With that, we are adjourned.